All right. Moving on to write-off of bad debt and update policy. Director of Finance, BJ.
So staff is requesting to update our policy on bad debt to coincide with the state code. This policy is for utilities, electric, water, sewer, and garbage. Previous policy adopted in 2012 deemed an account uncollectible after 7 years of no activity. Code of Virginia allows collection for a period of up to 5 years. Voluntary payments can be made after the 5 years, but the town would not be able to demand requests. So we're requesting to revise the policy, review options of collection, approve write-off of accounts with no activity after 5 years. I've provided some statistics on the bad debt that is being requested to be written off. Just to kind of a couple highlights there. Roughly 75% of the accounts are under $500 over the number of accounts, 25% being over. The total dollar figures, over $500 is being requested is 61% of the bad debt to be written off. Wanted to point out also that 96.8% of the accounts were open with utility with deposits on the account. To review some of the additional options, one thing I'd also like to point out here is that the Department of Finance collects 99.5% of the amounts we bill annually before it's written off. So we're doing a pretty good job of our collections currently, but there is always room for improvement. On the additional options there that we may or may not want to review. The first option was the personal guarantor, which legal office is still kind of working on to see how that's going to affect our ordinances. Option B is raising the amount of the deposits required to open a utility account. Our statistics show that 96.8% of the accounts that we're writing off here had deposits when the accounts were opened. 87.4% of those accounts had deposits remaining when the accounts were closed. Currently, of our active accounts, we have 29% of our accounts have deposits on them, of the active accounts. Sorry, you have a question?
No, I'm good.
You good? So if we wanted to review possibly raising our deposits, we could decrease our bad debt expense. Another option C, a town legal department seeking judgments. If we wanted to pursue this, maybe something over $1,000 account could be sought for judgment. If a judgment is entered, the 5-year limitation would not apply, and the judgment would eventually show up on a credit report. Outside collection agency, we've used those in the past. It's not recommended. It's not very beneficial for us. Another option is to place liens on the properties. Again, that's not an option that I would recommend. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I'll be happy to answer any questions or dig into anything further if you guys like. Yes, ma'am.
Are we able to opt into two things? A and C both look favorable.
Yes. I mean, yes, we certainly can. I mean, A, we're already pursuing. Put it on there. C is certainly an option. If council wants us to do that route, we can review some additional options and bring them back.
In my discussion with you, BJ, and before the council as well, I brought up these LLCs that were walking away and establishing new ones. I don't see that in here.
That's option A for the personal guarantee on business accounts.
That's what Doug's still working
Yeah,
on.
there's legal still reviewing that to see how it's going to affect our ordinances. So that is in the works.
This electric thing going on in the community right now, I've had a lot of people talk to me about, well, we're always billing 30 days in arrears.
Correct.
Why do we bill in arrears? Why don't we bill up front?
We don't know how much you're going to use in the next month.
You have an average on per household.
Well, I mean, the averages are very different from summer to winter, and we don't have an average for every property in the town. A family of 4 versus a person of 1 moving into a house is going to be entirely different.
No, you take the average that you know, and then you make the correction on the next month.
That is a,
That's not standard
It'd be
billing practice.
a huge undertaking to do something like that.
yeah, people get mad when we adjust, or we, on snowy days, when we just, I guess, what do they call it?
Yeah, estimate for
When we
snow.
estimate, oh, they get upset because
Yeah,
they want you to come back and reread the reader, and that's fine, but also want to make everybody aware too, that the electric bills include water, sewer,
Yeah.
PCA, trash, water, sewer, electric, it includes them all.
yeah.
So,
Fire suppression in some instances.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
PJ, do you, when you do the, when they give you the deposit, how do you arrive at that?
It's
From
like-
the previous,
Yeah, highest bill for the previous 12 months of that location while it was being resided in. If the property was vacant and had zero usage, obviously we can't use that.
what would be the minimum?
Minimum's $125.
And I think you need to explain a little bit what the state law requires as well. On people that have children, whatever. you
The
take
serious
their
medical
power and
condition?
stuff off and-
So the town follows the SCC's recommendation on that for serious medical conditions. Serious medical condition can apply for an extension of payment twice in a year's period of time, non-consecutively for 30 days. As far as disconnects for children, there is not a law, or cold weather, Virginia does not have a law. We're allowed to disconnect services for non-payment. But the serious medical conditions, going back to that, if somebody has a serious medical condition, there's an application in our office that can be filled out. It has to be completed by their doctor. Then the utility account holder submits that to the Department of Social Services, and the Director of Social Services will sign off on it. If it is deemed a serious medical condition, the town has no knowledge if that, of the medical condition, only that the director approved it.
And how many days are there in the rear before you send the final notice and actual cutoff? Is that?
So you have 20 days to pay your standard bill. 10 days after that, we're disconnecting, I guess, on the 11th day after 20. So 31 days
31 days.
roundabout is what we're looking at before a service is disconnected from the date we go.
BJ, is that like from January the 1st to January 31st, you send a bill out? They have 20 days to pay that January bill. In the meantime, they've got $500 for January, and now they're going to be accruing another $500 for February.
That's
So they
correct.
move out on us in March,
Yeah, that's correct.
and
That's
they owe us
exactly correct.
$1,000, just that quick. I mean, it happens
Yes,
just that
so
quick.
we're billing a month in arrear. We have the current bill plus the delinquent bill. So roughly, you're looking at 2 to 3 months of services.
I mean, the only hedge we have is a deposit, and a deposit we can only keep for 1 year.
We can keep the deposit on we keep the deposit on the account unless the account remains in good credit standings for the period of 1 year. If it's not in good credit standings, it remains in the account. until 12 months.
BJ, if there's a rental, is a rental charged different than an actual owner?
No, sir. It used to be years ago, but no longer. It's they're all
Would that be something we may want to pursue since we have so many rentals in town?
It could be another option. We got away from it years ago, and I don't know the reasoning behind it. But we
What was
can
that, Gene? I missed
Yeah.
that.
Well, you know, we have so many rentals, like 60% or
Yeah,
maybe more.
70%.
Being a property owner, that you charge me, you know, the fee, and I get it back, I'll pay my bill, but a renter, sometimes I just wonder, usually most of these are renters,
Yes.
that you're getting these things, why not pay? I just think that we may want to pursue a little different standard in rentals than we do on actual property owners.
And that may be something to look into. Like I say, I don't know the history behind it.
So we want to make it harder for people that have to rent to have electricity. Like making it more expensive for them to get in, like
That's what it
increasing their
appears, though, that's
deposit.
where, most of these bills, if you look at them, are rentals.
Well, I mean, the really big one on here is the business, the
Oh, yeah,
$5,000 one.
That's
But-
an
Those
LLC.
LLCs, you don't know who has it.
I don't think it's right to punish people who are already probably not in the absolute best place. They're already trying to pay first month to last month and a security deposit, and then be like, by the way, you need $1,000 for your electricity.
It's tough.
It doesn't sound
Yeah, it's
fair
tough.
or reasonable.
Looking at this, all these on this list, I mean, you can tell that probably 80–90% of them are all rentals.
Yeah.
Because they're all, you know, same areas.
The property owners know they're gonna go up
Apartments
for
or
property.
Townhouses. so
Yeah, and those are like
I think
$81.
option- Yeah, I think option A is probably the best way to go.
Yeah, I mean, we're already pursuing that one. I mean, if we wanted to review any others, we certainly can.
Bill?
Well, that A item covered the LLC that I talked about,
Yeah.
but it does not cover the main point I talked about previously, was heading for garnishment. You said that
That's
we wait
okay.
till the end of the year and taxes come available and we go to the state and request their,
We're already getting that, aren't we?
Yes, we're already,
We
yeah.
got that.
well, give me a minute, I'm laying everything out here.
Excuse me.
I'm confused on the deposit. So you got a renter that puts $125 down, and they just walk away without paying their bill.
Correct.
And let's say it's $225. Okay, that's my example.
Okay.
Now, what happens?
They would owe us $100 after they walk away.
So you wait 30 days before you take the 125?
Well, we take once the account is closed is when we take the 125. So closed meaning that the utility account holder comes in and closes out the account, or we disconnect it for non-payment.
So you take that 125 immediately?
Yes,
Upon
it's applied,
closure.
yes, upon closure, it's applied to the account immediately.
Okay. Now, what I suggested the last time was take that differential of $100. And I told you that the bank that I set on the board, we find out exactly where they live, where they work. We go to the court every month and we find out where they work and we request a garnishment.
Well,
I
option
don't
C,
see that in
option
here.
C is the first step of that. Option C is getting the judgment is the first step of obtaining garnishment.
You recommending over $1,000?
Yes, sir.
And Bill, too, you have to understand that the cost of recovery could outweigh the recovery.
You get your money back, but it takes, I mean, it
Yeah.
takes
And
a
that's-
long time, because when you do a garnishment, I think you can either do it, it's like 4 paychecks.
And then you have to
Judgment has to
reapply.
And
be
then you have to
for so long.
reapply, it
It's
costs you
an
like
extended
$100.
period of time, not to get the time.
So
I mean, if it was an
it's-
extended
doesn't
amount
make
of
sense
money,
to pursue
So you got, you got a $200 bill. you
So
can
why
garnish.
was $1,000
Yeah,
the
no.
Time
judgment?
and work.
Because that would,
I like the
would
recommendation.
be a minimal number of accounts for a larger dollar amount.
more meat to get.
Exactly. It's an option, it's nothing, I mean, we have to pursue, but just a recommendation.
Some of these, they tend to move out, and someone moves in, maybe the relative, the town doesn't know that, because there's some repetitive.
Yeah, and it's hard, that's a hard battle to fight.
Yeah, because you don't know who's, but you guys are asking for leases.
Yeah, we get a copy of the lease.
I think they're doing a great job. We're just trying to help them tune it up a little bit, tighten it up a little bit, and,
Well, that was my whole point.
sure, yeah,
Because
especially the
one that he
LLC.
first presented was not acceptable to me. So there's a better way to collect the money. I don't think they should walk without some,
And they moved to another community, and they moved to another, and all communities, I guess you've checked on that, they all have written
Yeah.
like that.
You all reciprocate too.
I'm sorry.
Don't y'all reciprocate from other towns? Do y'all ever call, like, if they come
Well,
over in
that's-
Strasburg or
That-
Winchester?
I mean, mainly through the debt set-off program is what we do, but I mean, as far as, communicating with the
Direct.
surrounding towns, we don't have that necessarily.
BJ, is this already an accrued expense? We're not.
Yes, it is. It's accrued expense. It's going to be a balance sheet item.
At 0.9%, I think going with your first option is the best next step, and after that, I don't want to say who cares, but, I mean.
We're gonna have write-off.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, 99.5% of collections is an outstanding ratio, so, but,
So y'all don't want to add item C in there for 1,000?
I'm fine with that. I'm just saying,
But over $1,000, not like $100.
Pardon?
But over $1,000, not like $100.
Oh, no,
Like,
no.
pursuing a
I'm
judgment for
saying
$100
now,
is
the
close.
way it is here is 1,000.
Yeah, yeah.
Anybody else? Joe, I guess, see?
I'm not for D.
Option A and C.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good.
Is that what we're saying, A and C, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not for D.
No, well, you can't.
Joe, it sounds like A and C is the prime target.
Okay.
And we'll see if that makes dollar sense, real dollars.
We'll know next year.
It may take a little bit to get
They'll be
in.
talking about electric rates for the next
Well,
50 years.
Is there one more point, though? I mean, you're gonna ask us to write off, what, $300,000?
270,
300,000.
okay, yeah, rounding up, yes,
See,
sir.
Bill, those are the ones we can't collect anyway, so they're over the 5-year system.
It's 5 or 6 years.
Five.
Look at the length of time on that 300,000. Why isn't this done on a quarterly basis or something?
We certainly can, I mean, if
I
council.
mean, I'm asking the question because when you go out into the public and you show $300,000 and we're trying to keep our money so we can pay for the police department and some of these other projects, it doesn't look bad, and you write off, what was the last one, $1 million?
No,
900?
no, no. The last one was, what one year I have?
100 and some.
The last one
I mean, they're big numbers
was
for sure.
160.
It went back
166.
several years, that's what I
Yeah,
was.
they're big numbers, and they have dwindled them down, and every year, I guess, it gets
Yeah.
better.
We went from, February 2017, 203,000, November 2017, 175,000, October 2018, 166,000. So I mean, we're coming, well,
How many
we're coming
million
down.
DJ, how many millions in the 5-year period are we looking at that we distribute out of the town front row?
Roughly 30 million a year.
Yeah, so that's probably that's, I mean, it's a lot of money. It's that balancing act of how we can collect it. And every option that staff has to use that we can give them, that's the better yet.
Going back to what Bill said, I think that Bill's saying that instead of having a 300,000, then say it would be that much, do whatever quarter.
Yeah, we
So it
certainly
doesn't
can.
look so bad on our, when he goes out on
Still ain't something the same.
but when you do that, you don't give us anything that's not over 5 years, right?
That's correct.
So, yeah, I don't think, if that would be an issue, I'd like to see us get a quarterly report and do it, or maybe at least every 6 months. That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'd rather see it written off in some kind of sequence rather than
The whole year.
5-year sequence. That's,
Well, this is, we've got that caught up, we're just doing the back now, the 2 years. So next year, we'll do the 5th one for the 6th year.
Well, if we want to do it quarterly, I'll be coming back.
Yeah, if you do it that way, then.
June or
But
so.
we're only doing it after the 5-year period.
That's correct.
well, I'm asking the staff to figure out what's the best way to do it. I think the way we're doing it now is not correct. I think we ought to be writing it off as it occurs once we know it, rather than this big lump sum, say at the end of the year.
I mean, I certainly can.
Will the quarter, whatever quarter, be a big issue with that?
I mean, we'll be doing probably about the same amount of work. I mean, it's more of a reconciliation we'll have to do, but I mean, it's
Well,
not a problem.
well, I'd like to say let's try that. Let's try that this next year and see how it works out.
Yes, sir.
TJ, if, you know, option B, if we did raise the deposit $25, your notes here, you saying that would decrease this number by 40 to 50%?
If we went with the, if we made the deposits 2 months instead of 1 month.
2 months instead of 1 month.
Yes, correct. It should decrease it because, like I say, 99% of the accounts we're writing off have deposits or had deposits held on them. So that would substantially decrease the amount. As Ms. Thompson was saying, you know, maybe a little bit harder for the
Yeah, definitely.
those coming in.
Definitely. I wouldn't.
I think it would drive people to tampering with meters and, yeah, you know, they,
If we raised it $25, I would be interested to find out, you know, what,
Well, I mean, let's see here.
that would be.
You're already
We
paying
had
us a
700
expensive
accounts,
month. You're paying the most
So,
expensive month for the past 12 months. You mean on like the minimal ones where
Yeah,
they're only
I'm
doing
talking about the
125?
deposit, when they gain service.
Yeah, so instead of like the lowest minimal amount being 125, making that part
Making it
150?
150.
Oh, okay.
You know. which is-
so I mean, it would probably bring us down, maybe $15,000.
So we're talking a 5% increase in all deposits across the board, or what are we
I
talking
thought you
about?
said $25.
Is that across the board?
That's what he was saying.
Or
You
just
said
to
on
the
the
minimum.
minimum.
Yeah, and I can do the numbers to figure out exactly what it is. I mean, that's just kind of off the cuff.
Joe, what do you think?
What-
Give me your thought.
I just want to be, I want to understand, so what you're asking is adding an additional 25 to an account that has no history?
Yes.
Okay.
No history, that's pretty minimal.
Those are little.
Yeah.
Very
Actually,
cheap.
pretty
Yeah,
much
I can
the deal.
understand that, yeah. I'm not 100% sure where we came with that 125. BJ, do you know where the history of that
That's been
125
years
is based
ago.
on?
We'll make the minimum
Wait for it.
150, and then still use the same
Well, on
formula.
those properties, 125 is probably gonna be a high utility bill anyways, right?
Some are, some aren't. I mean, it's, yeah, it's give or take.
A friend of mine rented someone else's duplex, and the high bill last year was 450, and they put up 450 deposit.
And they probably didn't use more than 200 while they were there.
And that's-
Probably,
that
yeah,
is the
because
case
they're,
on
because
them.
they're gonna be
Different
different.
size
So the next person that moves in, correct me if I'm wrong, BJ, this person paid the 450, his bill's roughly 200, so the next person moves in, it's gonna be a $200 deposit.
That's correct.
Right.
That's
But then
correct.
that guy's gonna run a $600 bill, so then the following,
And,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's
never
a, it's a
easy.
balance.
But anyway, let's move on to
Yeah.
continued budget discussions.
Well, you wanna, well, we haven't signed on this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're gonna-
A and C.
Yeah, A and C.
So we're gonna increase it to 25?
And we'll bring it back quarterly?
Yeah, $150 minimum
Well,
deposit.
Oh, you want to,
Ask
I'm
it,
sorry.
yeah, that's what-
Oh, didn't ask everybody, so that's why we're confused.
Oh, sorry. Joe?
Yeah, we need further direction on that
He needs
150.
clear direction.
Okay, we got A and C increase, Bill?
Yes.
Gary?
A and C definitely. I would
I'm
like-
talking about increase. We already got A and C.
Yeah, yeah.
125 and 150.
I would make it to 150.
Chris? Yeah. Tasha?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, Gene, Hollis, yes, okay. Raise minimum deposit 150.
And do we want to come back to work session with anything on the judgments, or do we want to move forward with the
Just
1,000?
move, just
Move
move.
forward.
Move forward, okay.
Yeah, take a staff level.
Try it for a year, see how it's done.
Whatever helps you out, BJ. I know you're doing a heck of a good job, all you guys are, but whatever we can help with, let us know.